Custom-made fence gate, no sagging, from idea to made in just one day. With saying that, it did take me the whole day. This type of gate anyone can make. I'm not a carpenter, so if I can do it, you can probably do it as well. Before we get started, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It's free, and it'll help me out. My design. Believe it or not, this is the design that I used to build the gate. Me and my 7-year-old daughter drew this up. The only thing I didn't add was the unicorn that she wanted. I put that on the other gate. My design requirements are as follows. I had to have a design that had no sagging and absolutely no gate kit involved. There is less than 1/4 of an inch clearance, and the gate is also about 3.5 inches thick. That is why you cannot have any sagging at all. And a gate kit, I have never had good luck using a gate kit. This gate is over 6 feet tall, and I wanted an open air space at the top. I also wanted a diamond insert for visual appeal. You got to admit, they do look good. They're also aluminum, so they'll never rust. Another absolute must is I didn't want any light showing through the wood. To achieve this, I used an overlapping process. This is what it looks like when light shines through the wood. It's not very appealing. Doweling is better for strength than screws are, and they also look really cool. All of my joints are doweled, some are screwed, but they're also glued. Now that we have my design musts in, let's take a look at the tools that I used. I used a table saw, a jigsaw, a power drill and bits, measuring tape file. Some of the things left off the list, I used clamps, I used glue. This is how I made my tongue and groove board. So basically I turned around and I set the saw, stop at the back, at the furthest that I was going to have my piece go in, so the depth of the wood. Then I went back and forth multiple times on both sides. The height of the saw blade set the depth of cut. After I did a bunch of multiple passes, it was pretty simple. Then I just took a hammer and smashed out all of the extra little bits. It left the wood with a very rough surface. What I did next will probably make some woodworkers a little upset. I didn't mind going through a blade. Then I just slid the saw back and forth over top of the same area until it came out nice and flat. This is what the final product looks like. Then I took a jigsaw and cut off the excess off of one end. I'll explain that in a moment. This piece is the top header of the gate. If you take a look at the pink string, that's the string and a pencil that I used to draw the large circle. And there's also a can of paint which I used to put the secondary radius in. This is also a visual of the groove that is put in, so the tongue and groove fit together. Now this looks a little bit confusing. If you take a look at the middle photo, we're going to call that the tongue, and if we take a look at the right hand photo, we're going to call that the groove. The tongue can only be as thick as the groove is deep, which is controlled by the depth that I can cut with my saw. I hope that wasn't too confusing. That's why in the other photo, the tongue was cut down. Following the layout lines, I took my jigsaw and cut along the top to create that radius. The next step is to dry fit the frame together and to see that it fits. Because the posts that we put in the ground are never perfectly perpendicular from the ground and sometimes not square, you may need to compensate with your gate size. So in my case, the bottom is 1/2 inch larger than the top. Once you've double checked all of your numbers, it's time to drill. Time to add the glue and the dowel pins now. Now keep in mind, don't ever hit the dowel pin with a hammer. Use a piece of wood, then hit the piece of wood with the hammer. I just so happened to use dowel pins that were the same thickness as what I needed, but if you have to cut the top of the dowel pin off, that's not a problem. At this stage, I fitted the gate to make sure that it was correct. Now it's time to fit the inner panels. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm almost tongue and grooving the boards, but not quite. I'm basically putting a T-notch in this side, a T-notch in that side, and doing it opposites. So this guy goes underneath here and slides in. So when the boards shrink, there'll be a gap that you won't be able to see through. It is important that you take your time setting the stop on the saw, because if it's wrong, then all of your boards will be cut wrong. Assembly of the overlapping boards. Keep in mind, all of these boards are the exact same size. We cut them all the same. Let's take a look at the black and the red. They're the exact same cut boards, it's just one is on the top and one is on the bottom, and they interlock into each other. The two blue ones on the end are cut as fillers. When the gate is assembled this way, it is extremely strong and very solid, and also quite heavy. But it is not strong enough to prevent this from warping or sagging. That is why we need the support frame. Next, we lay our boards out for the support frame. We also cut those as tongue and groove as well. We glue and screw these boards together, and also to the gate face as well. Next up, we add our diamond grill feature. If you take a look where it's cut in the red box, you can see how tight the overlapping boards sit together. I used a jigsaw to cut this out. Next up, I fitted 3 heavy-duty stainless steel hinges. These are not the most durable hinges, but they won't rust. Depending on the use of this gate, they might need to be replaced in about 5 years. From idea to reality in just one day. 9 months later, and it still looks great. 2 years later, fit and function, still perfect. Taking the extra time to cut the hinges in really helped out. Some of the nice extra touches that I put in, if we take a look at the photo on the left, a security light on the front and back. Also, if you take a look at the photo on the right, the bottom is an electrical outlet and a light switch. And also, if you take a look at the top right, that's a security camera. Well, I'm glad to see that you enjoyed the video. If you want to see other great videos, check out my YouTube channel, Ray's Fix. If you got any value out of this video, please like and subscribe. It's free and it'll help me out. All you have to do is click on the icon of my face and I'll do the rest. Thank you for watching the video and have a great night.